Good morning, class 9 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagriti Classes. We were doing chapter 8 of physics, that is motion, okay? So we'll be continuing our chapter. We have already started this chapter in our previous video lesson. So let's start. This video is for class 9th and we are doing chapter 8, motion. This motion belongs to the branch of physics here. So now we have discussed what do you understand by the terms motion, what do you mean by the contrasting term, that is rest. So motion is when the position of any object changes with respect to time. You call the object to be in motion. Whereas what do you mean by the term rest? Rest is when the position of the object does not change with time. That is when an object is at the same position after every passing time. So you call the object to be in rest. Then we also discussed two kinds of motion, uniform and non-uniform, and I gave you an example for it. So we have done two kinds of motion here. Uniform and non-uniform. What do you mean by this term uniform motion? Uniform motion means when an object covers equal distance in equal intervals of time. So you call the object to be in uniform motion. Whereas non-uniform means when the object covers unequal distances. Rest the definition would be all same. If this object is covering unequal distance in equal intervals of time, that is time you are taking as equal interval, but the distance here is in unequal magnitude or unequal distance the object is traveling, then you call the object to be in non-uniform motion. And I have given you many examples in the previous class regarding uniform and non-uniform motion. Then next today, and in the next previous class, we also discussed what do you mean by the terms distance and displacement. Before this, I made you clear that you have two kinds of physical quantities in physics. That is, one is scalar quantity and the next is vector quantity. So what do you mean by scalar and vector quantities? We know that every physical quantity or every measurement, whatever you do in physics, you require the answer in two terms. That is, you are required to use a numerical value or a number, and then you have to use a certain unit with this number. So this would complete your measurement of physical quantity. So this would be your measurement. So for measurement you require a numerical quantity, and with this it is very important to use a particular perfect unit. And we discussed some standard, that is SI units prescribed for physical quantities. Like the SI unit for the physical quantity length is meter. The SI unit for time which is used, that is you can have many units of time. You can measure the time in hours, minutes, even in days, months, seconds, etc. But the standard unit which is accepted as the SI unit here is seconds. And then you can have many other physical quantities with their respective units. Like for mass, you use the unit kilograms. Kilogram is the SI unit of mass. And then you can measure mass in different units too. Like you can measure in milligrams. You can even measure it in grams. But the SI unit will be what? Kg, that is kilogram. So we said that these physical quantities can be divided into two categories, scalar and vector. Scalar are those physical quantities which require only magnitude and they do not require any sort of direction. So scalar quantities which include only magnitude. Magnitude means just it would include a number with its unit and no kind of direction would be substituted. So you call those quantities to be scalar. And here vector quantities, the quantities which has both magnitude as well as direction, such quantities are known as vector. And in the last class we saw two quantities, that is distance and displacement. So distance was your scalar quantity, whereas displacement was the vector quantity. What was distance? Can you define it? Yes, why not? Distance was the total path length covered by the object. That is, when an object is starting from any given position. Let's take another example. This is the given path with which the object is traveling. And let's mark some different points on this path. I say the object starts from point A. And starting from the point A, the object moves to B, then it moves directly to D, and then it comes back to path B. So what would be the distance traveled? So for finding the distance, you will add up all the path lengths. That is, you will first add the distance from A to B. Take this to be 10 units. Then you will add the distance from this B point to the point D. And let the distance from B to D is 20 units. So, abhi tak you got the distance 10 plus 20, that is 30 units. Now the object is returning back from the point D to the point B. That is, the object traveled in this direction. Now the object is turning and coming back to the point B. So you will again add plus 20 meters in this distance. And this distance, that is 10 plus 20 plus 20, which you get to be 50 meters. So 50 meters would be your total distance traveled. And for distance, we do not use any kind of direction. So remember, distance is a scalar quantity. Now talking about displacement. Can you find displacement in the same example? That is, when the object is traveling or starting to travel from point A, then it is going to point B, then to D, and then again coming back to B. Then what would be its displacement? Displacement would be, let's suppose, what is the initial position? Or if you say by definition, what do you mean by the term displacement? Displacement is the shortest distance, okay? Mark my words, displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. So talking about this question, your initial position is point A and the final position is point B. So you have to find the shortest distance between your initial and final position, that is between point A and point B. So between point A and point B, if you are talking about shortest, shortest means you will move in a straight direction or in a particular direction. So we say because in displacement you include direction, then it is called as vector quantity. Because what do you have in displacement? You have magnitude as well as direction here. So this displacement is known as vector quantity, and the answer for displacement would be, what is the shortest or the straight distance between initial and final position A and B? So you will say displacement here is 10 meters. So 50 meters would be the answer for distance traveled, and for the displacement, the answer would be 10 meters. So this is all the concepts which we discussed. Now you have certain questions given in your books, that is the blue questions or the in-text questions, you can say. We'll try to cover every topic theoretically as well as numerically when we are dealing with physics, okay? So the first in-text question, one of the question which is given, it is said that there is a farmer who is moving along a square field, who moves along a square-shaped field of side 10 meter. The side of this square is 10 meter, and to move once along the field, that is to complete one round, not one round we can say because the field is square in shape, okay? To complete one whole perimeter, the time required, the time taken is given to be 40 seconds. Now you have to find how much distance will the farmer cover in 2 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So this is one of the question which is based on topic distance and displacement. And this question are the blue questions given in your CBSE NCERT textbooks. So you are given a farmer who is walking along a square field. So let's start its solution, okay? So let's draw the diagram according to the question. Let's suppose this is the square field of the farmer along which the farmer is walking. And it is given that side of the square is 10 meter. And as you all know, square has, every side of the square is equal. So each side would be of 10 meters. Now we have given that if the farmer starts from this point A and it covers whole of the distance, that is A, B, C, D, then the time taken to cover the distance A, B, C, D, okay? To cover A, B, C, D, the time taken here is 40 seconds. Now we have to find, now can you tell me the total distance when 40 seconds would be completed, what would be the total distance? So we say that side of the square which we are given, side of square field here is how much? 10 meters. So we'll say that this one perimeter or the perimeter of the square would be perimeter of square field. The perimeter for square is 4 into side. So we'll get 4 into 10, that is 40 meter. So now we know that for covering a distance of 40 meter, the time required by the farmer is 40 seconds. And now you have to find the distance in this given time. So now we say that in the question, the time given is what? The time given is 2 minutes 20 seconds. So let's convert whole of the time into seconds. So you know that the given time is 2 minutes 20 seconds. And if you convert it to second, you have in 1 minute how many seconds are present? Obviously 60 seconds. So in 2 minutes, how many seconds would you have? In 2 minutes you can do, you know, in 1 minute 60 seconds are present. So in 2 minutes, you will do 2 into 60 seconds plus these 20 seconds will add up. So the total time in seconds would be 60 into 2 would give you 120 seconds. And 120 plus 20 gives you a total of 140 seconds. That is, this 140 seconds is the simple conversion of the given time, that is 2 minutes 20 seconds are equal to 140 seconds in total. So now you have to find that how much distance the farmer would cover in 140 seconds. And what we found that in 40 seconds, this farmer covered 40 meter. So let's continue that in 40 seconds, distance covered by the farmer is 40 meters. This we have already found out. Now we'll say that in 1 second, this we are using unitary method. Unitary method means to find the quantity for one thing. So we have found that in 40 seconds the farmer will cover 40 meter distance. So in 1 second the farmer would cover 40 meters and this 40 would come down, that is 1 meter distance. So now you can easily find that in the given time, that is in 140 seconds, how much distance the farmer can cover. So can you do this? In the given time, that is in 140 seconds, the farmer would cover 140 meters because 1 into 140 here gives you 140 meter distance. Now 140 meter is how many rounds you have to tell this distance in the form of rounds. So now the farmer, here you know that one round comprises of 40 meter. That is to take one whole round of your square field A, B, C, D, which is this distance A, B, C, D is equal to 40 meters here. So in turn, we can say that if one round contains a distance of 40 meter or total path length of 40 meter, then 140 meter means how many rounds? So we say that number of rounds in 140 meter will be 140 divided by 40. So how many rounds you would get? You would get 3.5 rounds. This means that when farmer starts to move from the point A and then it covers the distance, that is APCD, then in 140 seconds, or you can say after traveling 140 meter, the farmer would complete a total of 3.5 rounds. So can you tell me the position where the farmer would be present after completing 3.5 rounds? Yes, we can say that. See, after completing one round, if the farmer starts from the point A and completes a whole round, it means the farmer again comes back to this point A. And in completing 3 rounds, the farmer would be at point A only. Then we have to cover 0.5, that is half round more. And in covering half round means moving from A to B and then B to C. So after completing 3.5 rounds, the farmer would be at point C or at the place C. And hence now you have already found the total distance. Now you also have to find the complete displacement of farmer. So we have this condition that the farmer will cover a total distance of 140 meter. And this total distance can also be explained in the form of total rounds. So these rounds are also giving you the answer about distance traveled. Now you have to find displacement. So we said that initial position of farmer is point A and final position of farmer is point C. Now for finding the displacement, what do we have? Displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. So for getting the shortest distance, you have to move or walk in a particular direction. So the particular direction can be explained by making a straight line from point A to the point C. So this straight line from point A to point C would give you the shortest distance between both these points, and you can call it to be the displacement. So for finding displacement in this question, you have to find the length of AC. And AC is the diagonal of this square. So now we are finding displacement in the same question, okay? So we know that displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. So here to find the displacement, you have to find the length of diagonal AC. As we discussed in this example, the initial position is point A. To find the displacement, A is your initial point or initial position, and the final position of the farmer after completing 3.5 rounds would be point C. So this C is your final point or final position. Now you have to find the shortest distance, and shortest distance between A and C is the straight line or the diagonal. So for finding the displacement, you have to find the length of diagonal AC. And how would you find the length of this diagonal AC? This you know, all the angles of square are 90 degree each. So this angle B is 90 degree. The length of BC as given in the question is same as the side of square. It is 10 meters. And the length of AB is also 10 meters. So when you have your AB and BC and a right angle triangle, then to find the third side or the third component of right angle triangle, we use Pythagoras theorem. And Pythagoras theorem states that the square of hypotenuse is equal to the sum of square of perpendicular and the square of base. H square is equal to P square plus B square. For finding the value of H, what you do is you take the root on right hand side of the equation. That is, H would be under root P square plus B square. This is simply your Pythagoras theorem. Which side you call it to be H? Hypotenuse is which side? If I make a right angle triangle here, right angle triangle means triangle containing at least one angle equal to 90 degree and the other two angles are acute angles. That is, they should be less than 90 degrees. So consider this to be your right angle triangle in which right angle is present at B. Then what you have next? The side which is opposite to this right angle. Okay, so opposite to this right angle you have the side AC. So AC here would be your hypotenuse, and the next one, the side along which 90 degree angle, that is right angle, is formed, it would be considered as base, and the next side would be perpendicular. So these are the three kinds of side: hypotenuse, base and perpendicular, present in your right angle triangle. So now discussing in this, which would be your hypotenuse, which would be your base, we said that the side present opposite to this 90 degree angle or perpendicular angle, this would be your hypotenuse. So here AC is the hypotenuse, AB will be your base, and this side BC would be perpendicular. So now we can substitute the values in our Pythagoras theorem equation. That is for H. H is your AC, then AC would be equal to perpendicular is BC. So you would get BC square plus base is the side AB. So square of AB. Now substituting the values, AC you have to find its length for finding the displacement. So AC here would be equal to 10 square plus 10 square. So here AC you would get to be 10 square is 100, then you will get 100 plus 100, which will give you root 200. And root 200 you can find the square root by any method. You can even leave the answer here, that is your displacement would be under root 200 meters. Or you can also find the square root of 200 as you do in mathematics. And if you try to find its square root, you can also split it up into factors and then find the root. Because like 200, if I try to do its prime factorization, I would get what? 2, then 2 50s are 100, 2 25s, then we get 5 5s and 5 1s. Now taking the common factors, that is, first I'll write all these factors in the square root. I get 3 times 2 and 2 times 5. Now taking the common factors out, that is the factors which are in pairs. So I get 2 into 5, and this 2 which is not in any pair, it would be kept under the square root. So the answer to AC would be 10 root 2 meters. So this would be the answer. And you can then also find the answer in the form of decimal points. Whatever you wish you can find, but you should understand here that how to find the given displacement and distance in the question. So this was one of your questions of NCERT where you were required to find distance and displacement. Now there is one more question. In the same in-text question given after the topic of distance and displacement, the question is, you have to tell whether the statements are true or false. The first statement is, it is given, displacement can never be 0. This is your first statement. You have to judge whether this statement is true or false. And the next one is, it is written, magnitude of displacement, magnitude means numerical quantity or amount of displacement. Magnitude of displacement can be more than, or we should say it, magnitude of displacement is always more than distance. These are the two statements, and you have to judge whether these statements are true and false, and if true or if false, you have to also provide a valid reason why you are telling these statements to be true or false. So if we try to solve them, in the first statement, In the first statement, it has been given that displacement can never be zero. And in our earlier video class, we have already dealt with the characteristics of displacement and distance. So if you have understood that class, you can say that statement is false. And the reason, I'll write it down. So we have already done this reason in the previous class. If you have understood, then you can do it on your own, that displacement is zero when initial and final position are same. The same I am writing it here. So this is the same reason which we did in our previous class, that I already said that displacement can be zero. Why? Because if the initial position and the final position are same, then what is the definition of displacement? Displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. And if you have your initial and final position to be same or equal, then the shortest distance between initial and final position would be zero. And so we can say that displacement will also be zero. So this statement is false, and the reason I have already written, and we have already done this reason in the previous class also. Then can you judge this next statement, that is statement B? It is given magnitude of displacement is always more than distance. Can displacement have a higher value than the value of distance here? This statement is again false. It is incorrect statement. Why this is incorrect? Because we already said that always the value of distance is more. Talking according to the definition, distance is the total path length covered by the object. That is, these are the 3 points A, B and C. If I say that the object starts from A, moves to B, then it moves to C, and then it again moves to the point B, then here the distance, if it is moving from point A to C and then again back to B, every distance the object which travels would be added up when calculating distance. While when calculating displacement, we only calculate the shortest distance. And because shortest means minimum here, so the value of displacement can never be more than distance. And I have already stated the fact in the previous class, then the value of distance can be equal to the value of displacement, but the value of distance can also be greater than displacement. These both statements, if you are provided with, then these would be true. But here what it is written, that magnitude of displacement, it is written that can displacement be greater than distance? So this would be absolutely false, because displacement means the minimum or the shortest distance. And because we are talking about the shortest and minimum quantity, then it cannot be greater than distance considering any type of case, whatever you have with you. So this completes your topic of distance and displacement, along with some of the numerical and conceptual questions which we discussed here. Now next, what we'll be starting with today is speed and velocity. So the topic we'll be doing would be about speed and velocity. So both these quantities, speed and velocity, they tell you the rate of motion. So speed and velocity are used to calculate, or they show the rate of motion of any object. Okay? So both these terms show you the rate of motion of object. What do you understand by the term rate of motion? Rate of motion means speed and velocity give you an idea that whether an object is moving in a faster way or slowly. Rate of motion, that is whether the object is moving slowly or it is moving fast. This idea you get from the term speed and velocity here. So these show, you can write, both these terms show you the rate of motion of object, that is either the object is moving slowly or the object is covering the distance with a faster pace. Now talking about the definitions of these terms, how can you define speed? So speed would be, it is the distance covered, by the object in unit time. The formula for speed is equal to distance covered by object upon total time taken. And this formula you have already learnt in your junior classes as well. Speed is distance upon time. In short, you can say S is equal to d by t. Here S stands for speed, d and t are used for distance travelled and time taken. And then the next point in speed would be, this speed is a scalar quantity. So speed is scalar quantity. And the fourth point in speed would be unit of speed. So can you find the unit of any physical quantity using its formula? Using this formula of speed, we can calculate the unit. So how to calculate the unit? And this unit we are talking about its SI unit. Okay? So we know that the unit for measuring distance is a kind of length. The definition of distance is total path length. So the unit for measuring length or distance is meter. And we always measure time to be in the standard unit, that is seconds. So the unit of speed would be meter per second. So here I am writing the SI unit of speed, which is meter per second. It is also written as meter second inverse. Okay, this -1 is said to be inverse, that is if you reciprocal this, S would come down. So this is the way to write the unit of speed, and the unit is meter per second. So this is an account of speed. Speed is the distance covered by the object in unit time. That is, in a given time, how much distance an object has travelled. If you know both the quantities, you can find its speed. The formula for calculating speed is equals to distance covered upon time taken. Then speed is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity means it has only magnitude and it does not carry any direction with it. Hence it is referred as scalar quantity. And talking about the SI unit of speed, as we came to know the SI unit from the formulas, the SI unit is meter per second, or you can write it as meter second inverse. And then the next quantity which we'll study is velocity. So velocity is just similar to speed. Both the terms speed and velocity, as I have written earlier, they are used to show the rate of motion. That is, either the object is moving at a faster rate or at a slower rate. But the definition of velocity, because it is a vector quantity, the definition would be, it is the displacement of the object. For defining speed, we use the term distance, because distance is scalar, time is scalar quantity, and hence speed also becomes a scalar quantity. While because velocity is a vector quantity, you will use a vector term in its definition, displacement. So velocity is the displacement of the object in unit time. This would be the definition of velocity. And talking about the formula, which is our next point, the formula of velocity is total displacement upon time taken, which can also be represented as d by t, or you can write a short form to not to mix your both the terms, distance and displacement. Velocity would be displacement upon time. Next, what you have, speed was a scalar quantity. You can remember that speed starts from the letter S and scalar also starts from S. Similarly, velocity starts from the letter V, and here also the quantity, name of the quantity vector starts from the same letter, that is letter V. So velocity is a vector quantity. Vector quantity means it has both the terms magnitude as well as direction. So velocity contains magnitude as well as direction with it. And then next, the unit of velocity would be the same unit of speed, because in both the terms, in velocity you have two terms. If you try to find the unit, for displacement the unit would be meters, and for time the unit would be second. So the SI unit of velocity would be meter per second. So these are an account or introduction about speed and velocity. Now in the next class, we will be dealing with two more concepts which are quite important, that is average speed and average velocity, and then we will be talking about other numerical problems. All the problems I'll try to do which cover speed and velocity topic. So thank you for joining today's class, and see you in the next video.